When we think about karma, what usually comes to mind are connotations like reaction or repercussions, where in truth, karma literally means action, just pure action. It is the action that is the very code responsible for generating our reality, this universe. So, this karma, which basically has two manifestations, one is the unconscious or the subconscious aspect, and the other is the conscious. And both of these aspects manifest in all forms of the creation, whether they are the moving like us or the unmoving, which is the nature all around us. And this unconscious aspect forms the majority of the code responsible for generating the world around us. While the conscious aspect manifests through beings like us and other creatures that serves the purpose of basically providing a sense of choice that in the larger scheme of things serves as a pivot in the flow of events that are continuously happening as this universe is being projected. Now, this conscious aspect is the one that gets uploaded into the cloud of the entire code that is responsible for generating this reality. So, why does it matter to us? How does it affect our day-to-day life? I'll give you two examples just from my daily life, recent events that happened. One was rather mundane, and the other was a little high stakes. So, a few nights ago, I had, while sleeping, I had a bug. I'm pretty sure it was an ant that sneaked into my ear, one of my ear. And yeah, I woke up suddenly traumatized with that buzzing in my ear. And that's how I knew next morning that I was dealing with an ant infestation. And so I did what was necessary. I took care of the problem, got the baits, got the necessary things to get rid of the ants. But as spiritual seekers on this path, when we realize our real nature, or when we are leaning into our real nature as that pure being, as the essence of this entire reality, we tend to see that reality from in the tiniest of things all the way to the macrocosmic landscape. Because that is the only reality in and through every fabric, every instant of this universe. And so this thought does creep in while taking in that action that I did for the ants, that I was killing them off. I was taking an action against one of the creatures, no matter how tiny they are. And we do that on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes we do it intentionally, sometimes we do just without even thinking about it. Because unconsciously we are always kind of killing little creatures, even just while walking right now. Like, we're not aware of it. But that is unconscious action. That is nature doing, because we are meant to move. We cannot control little things like that. We cannot control every micro actions. The nature's algorithm is part of maintaining it. But we mean them no harm. We are just doing what we are supposed to do. So there's a difference between the conscious and the unconscious action. While acting from being, one thing is fundamentally different. we recognize that presence in every moment, everything around us. And so we know that we are only taking an action that the situation requires. We have no personal agency in it. It was part of my responsibility to take care of that problem as part of being responsible for the household. And so I did that. I did not mean any harm, intentional harm, conscious harm. It was just an act of defense, self-defense. So how this particular incident was different from the conscious karma that gets uploaded to the cloud, so to say, is that like when usually any being takes a conscious action, a choice, it's usually driven by that sense of ego. It's driven by a desire to achieve a particular outcome. It is associated and filled with attachment, intention. And this intention, which is also a form of emotion, which in fact it is emotion, it has the component of energy associated with it. And that is all that matters. Nature takes such action deemed worthy of uploading it for future reference. And most of our actions are manifestations of such intention and driven by our ego. But whenever we are acting from a place of our real nature, which is pure being, and we intend no harm as such, we are only trying to defend our position, because every existence in this world is relative to each other. And so they are associated by complementary actions. For one to survive, sometimes the other might have to perish. And a lot of the times it is an unconscious choice by nature itself. But in beings like us, humans, who have that discernment between the conscious and the unconscious, there's this special feature which can have varying ramifications. So the ants incident, from my perspective, of course, was an unintentional harm. I was just trying to defend my home. Talking about ants, there's this story from the Mahabharata that comes to mind, the Indian scripture, one of the longest scriptures, where there's this blind king who is basically the father of the bad guys as well. And then there's Lord Krishna, who is trying to broker a peace between the good guys and the bad guys. He's acting as a mediator. And this blind king, he asked Lord Krishna that since he's a manifestation of the divine itself, he might know, or he might have the context of the condition that he was born in, the blind king. Why was he born blind? What was the action that resulted? Because he couldn't account for any action in his present life for this condition. And that's why this karmic theory, as you can see, is very embedded into the Eastern traditions. Like whether it be the Indian scriptures or the Buddhism and Jainism and all. So yeah, back to the story. So Lord Krishna told him a story from his past life, that the blind king in one of his past lives when he was a little kid, he was playing with ants, like little kids do sometimes. But he was intentionally picking the ants' eyes out. For some reason. I'm not sure why. But yeah, he was intentionally picking their eyes out and taking pleasure in it. He was enjoying it. And that kind of manifested as his present life, where he himself was born blind. So, yeah, I mean, it's a story. There's no way to know if it's real or not. But yeah, the point of the story is that it was his intention and the associated emotion that he was enjoying the act that kind of manifested in his future life as that act, as that effect. So yeah, that's how conscious karma works. So for conscious beings like us, the context of knowing the difference between conscious harm and non-violence is critical from a karmic theory perspective, because it also forms the foundations of morality across all religions. But even upon reflecting on the mechanics of it, kind of makes sense. I mean, we don't know for sure if it's exactly how it works or not, but still a philosophical exploration. So, anyways, the second incident was I was supposed to discuss was something that happened around right here in this park that we usually go on our daily walk with the dogs. At one of the points, across a bend, we came across a mama bear and her cub. That's quite common around the parts we live here. So yeah, the bear and the cub were like 20 feet from us. And instantly in the moment, like, I made eye contact with the bear. She saw me. She took one look at her cub. And instantly, without even a second thought, I collapsed into my being. Somehow I was truly calm and poised. There was not even a sense, even an inch of panic or the flight or fight response that instantly kicks in. And we stayed calm. Even the dogs like to sense my energy. And I think even the bear, she did too. So she stayed her ground, she stayed put. We calmly backed off and we just stayed off her path, and she understood that we meant her no harm. And yeah, so a confrontation was averted, thankfully. But yeah, again, residing in that pure being did come in handy. Like somehow that I was able to communicate with her that we meant her no harm. So yeah, this is the exact spot where we saw the mother bear and her cub. She was like 20 feet away from us. So yeah, pretty close encounter. But the essence from these two incidents, or talking about karma in general, is that when we act from a place of being our real nature, we are not attached to the action or even the outcome itself. There's a term for it in ancient Vedanta, it's called Nishkam Karma. I think it is in Buddhism as well. Nishkama means without desire or without any expectation. I think I'm just loosely defining it. think definitely means something broader, but that's what the intended meaning is. So when we act from that place of non attachment and that place of pure being, we are essentially not uploading anything into that universal cloud, in a sense. Because all impressions are generated on our mind of all the actions or the desires that we have. Those impressions are imprinted on our mind, and the mind is a manifestation of that universal cosmic mind, each individual mind. And it's like that interface through which all actions are undertaken, and the results of those actions are saved for future reference, for future manifestations. Exactly how like a video game would work. The unconscious actions or the underlying code is generating the real-time runtime environment of the game, while the conscious choice of the players is is kind of mapping the specific pivots in the game itself, and it's saved for future checkpoints as you clear them. So yeah, in essence, we have to act from that place of our real nature, our being, place of non-attachment. Because in this world, even if we are on a spiritual path and we realize our real nature, we still have to take actions in this world. We still have to, and those actions might have negative or positive consequences in our day to day life. Sometimes we might have to hurt someone else, maybe part of our job or maybe in our personal lives. And it is what the situation demands, situation requires. But when we are totally unattached to it, we are not assigning our ego to it, we are just doing what the situation requires as part of the reality unfolding. We do not create an imprint, we do not carry anything with us to the future, so to say. Whatever manifests or whatever pans out, we are totally unattached to the actions and even whatever the consequences might come. So I hope you gained something valuable from today's video. Please like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for being with me and sharing this space today, and I'll see you in the next one.